Hello everyone, it's Michael. Welcome to Sovereign Artsakh and another installment of the Soghomon Tehlirian diary series. Let me make sure this is recording. Hold on. Okay, just had to check. I have another interesting entry, but before I do that, click like, subscribe, the notification bell, comment in the comment section, all of that stuff, and share this video. I'm going to read two excerpts from the prison diary. They're chronological. It's from March 27th through March 30th, but there's only two entries. So March 27th, he kind of summarizes 27th, 28th, and 29th. But March 30th is a particularly notable entry. It'll speak for itself after I read it. So here we go. March 27th, again, this is 100 years ago this past March. We're only a few days away from the 100-year anniversary of Soghomon's acquittal. Right? Spoiler alert, he's acquitted. But we're a few days away from the 100-year anniversary of Soghomon, a miraculous verdict. It's referred to as jury nullification in legal parlance, but it was a miraculous event, unexpected by everyone. All right, March 27th, the way he labels it, March 27th, 28th, and 29th, 1921. My contentment was tempered with the sorrows of solitude. No matter how hard I tried to rid myself of all manners of pain and sadness, alas, the terrible image of my loneliness loomed large in my efforts. Ah, how happy I would have been if my mind and imagination too were imprisoned along with my body. For they were what disturbed the peaceful life of my solitude. They didn't wish to be confined within the gloomy walls of the prison. But why this misfortune? Why didn't I possess a supernatural power that would let me control my mind, imagination, and soul? My body was constrained, but my soul took wing, sometimes even crossing oceans. March 30th, 1921. A little before noon, I'm escorted to the adjacent building, the one in which I was interrogated the other day. I assume that the reason I'm summoned today is that I'm to take a medical examination. This time I'm led to another room where I'm met by the Armenian interpreter of the other day, and he gives initials, and we know who this character is in the memoir. We know who it's. The initials are VZ. It's Vazo. It's one of his co-conspirators. But in the memoir, he just leaves the initials and talks as if he doesn't know who this person is. Again, kind of to cover, he's supposed to cover up the conspiracy. And if anybody gets a hold of this prison diary before the trial, he leaves out any hints that he has conspirators on the outside. And this is one of his conspirators coming into the prison and acting as translator. All right, that's an aside. Sorry, let me back up. This time I'm led to another room where I'm met by the Armenian interpreter of the other day, wink, wink, and an old man wearing eyeglasses. The interpreter tells me the other gentleman is a doctor/professor who will examine me. The doctor asks me to take all my clothes off. I do as I'm told, and he starts examining me. The examination takes an inordinately long time. So still, the doctor can't complete it because he says he has run out of time. He will have to conclude it on our next meeting. On our next meeting, I return to my cell. Lunch is already set on my table. Barely after I finish eating, I'm called out again. I'm taken to one of the long hallways where a few prisoners are standing in line in front of a door. I, in turn, get in line where I see others coming out of the room carrying various types of foods. I gather that food sent by someone on the outside must be waiting for me, too. At last my turn comes, and I go in. They give me a box full of different kinds of foods and make me sign a receipt. Back in my cell, I find some red-colored eggs among the foods. I wonder why these eggs have been sent to me. But at once it occurs to me that Easter is the occasion, and Easter I have spent unaware of it. Only today, on March 30, does it dawn on me that it was Easter a few days ago. Here, then, is the most powerful event of my life. whose memory will forever remain in my soul. But I don't know how to express all that I felt at the moment I saw those red eggs. Was it a fit of euphoria, or was it the bitterness of desolation that made me soar for an instant toward the sky, toward the somber clouds, to look from above at everything that related to my past, to watch from above all the Easters I had lived, and to decide whether my life's happiness and the world's pleasures lay in those old Easters, or whether they lay in this last, unnoticed Easter, which was to bring me, upon the wings of its unnoticedness, the boundless bliss of the suffering that was the realization of my longing. The unnoticed Easter. This was my own Easter, and it had to do with myself, my essence. Centuries ago, Christ had risen on March 27th. In the present day, likewise on March 27th, I myself had died, succumbing to the crushing weight of sorrows and pains. And here I was 3 days later, rising from those sorrows and pains to celebrate my unnoticed Easter, to sing my new Easter, my song of happiness dedicated to my new resurrection, to play my epic lyre, whose strings had not dried for long years as a result of my soul's tears. But today, under the powerful influence of a resurrection night, my lyre's dried strings vibrated as though they were made of the warbling tongue of a spring nightingale. Inspired by those heavenly vibrations, my soul wished to celebrate its feast of immortality, and my lyre wished to be adorned with the bouquet of my heart's fleeting joy, even if the flowers in that bouquet had but a minute to live. And my mind, my imagination, wished to erect a monument of immortality to the memory of this unnoticed Easter, even if that moment were raised upon my reveries. Alas, after all this, when I lift my head up, my body's eyes see nothing but chains of iron, chains that disturb the harmony of my heart and soul, which make me rethink the very meaning of my existence. And finally, with the infinite smile of death upon their faces, chains that smash the delicate lyre of my flower-adorned soul to pieces, thus also destroying the temple of my hopes. I like to write, and sometimes I'm able to compose things that I'm proud of, artistically. And often those efforts come from a lot of work and rewriting and agonizing and poring over it time and time again. And is this the best way to say this and that? And then go back and rereading. And this pours out of his soul like water. Obviously, I haven't gone through the things that he's gone through. So this incredible beauty springs forth from unimaginable suffering.